Good afternoon, everyone. And I hope we are aware on the topic on what we are going to discuss today. Uh, so most of you are able to see my screen, and if someone is not able to see, just ping me. I will try to fix. Right? Yeah. See, today we are going to discuss with respect to clean code principles. So it is not its intention behind is nothing but we need to be equipped enough with respect to non-functional fulfillment with respect to what coding we are doing or what project we are delivering. So so far as implementation of clean code is not limited to the only principles. It has to be consider with respect to practices also. So if I will mention that, okay, there are 4 or 5 principles you just follow and you are going to achieve clean code, then that is not going to happen so far as actual implementation part is concerned, right? So let us start. Yeah, so I think so far as Noldus part is concerned, Noldus is a 13-year-old organization, what we all are aware, and we are hardcore technology organization, whether it is in context of IoT, whether in context of microservice, AI, DevOps. So we are hardcore technology company, and we are always open any challenges with respect to technology. So today's agenda. There are seven bullet points with respect to today's agenda. Definitely, I will introduce what I'm going to consider so far as the knowledge or technology consideration is concerned. I'm going to explain what is clean code, why it is required. Sorry, it's spelling mistake. Why clean code is required. After that, clean code principle and the practice is required to implement clean code, and the few tools I will mention which can help us to achieve clean code. Sorry. Okay. Yeah. As I mentioned in start of session itself, that this is absolutely a non-functional fulfillment of any project or any code. It has relatively less to do with any core business functionality. I'm not mentioning the technical functionality, core business functionality. It has relatively less to do with those things, but we cannot get rid out of implementation of this clean code. Yeah. So as I mentioned that we cannot get rid. So in a way, it is a kind of mandate. Okay. If we cannot if I already mentioned that we cannot get rid of implementation of clean code, that means it's kind of now mandate along with all the deliveries of what we are doing, and it is not the mandate without any reason. It adds value to everyone. It adds value to client. It add values who is developing the code, and it adds value to the provider who is delivering the project, right? So it is win-win condition for all the corners, and that's why now implementation of clean code is integral part of any delivery, right? Now anticipation, what you should anticipate after the completion of this session. Obviously, understanding of clean code, why clean code is so significant, the principles, and some tools and technology to achieve clean code, right? Now, clean code. The code. Okay, so if I'm saying anything is clean, so if anything is clean with respect to any technology, then it is obviously the expectation is with respect to first thought comes with respect to the readable, or you can say the time required to understand the implementation. That is what something we can consider as a readable at first instance. But on the top of that, what extra? Modifiable, scalable, maintainable. Yes, it is definitely a very much what you can say a need of any clean code. Clean code, that doesn't mean it should only looks good. Clean code, it means it follows certain principle which incorporate the capacity to modify, to capacity to scale, capacity to maintain. So those features also supposed to go along with the readability of that code. And definitely not with respect to the person who had developed, but with respect to the person who is going to maintain that code in future. So for now as well as for future. So this character has to go with your deliveries when you are considering that you want to deliver something in context of clean code principle. Any queries, anything? This is just start. Okay, so I'm just trying to explain the terms what I have mentioned as a part of clean code characteristics of clean code. So readable. So what kind of code you can say it is readable? Any inputs from audience? Any input? I would prefer if interns can answer this question. Interns or whoever is less than 2 years experience, if those people can provide some input with respect to readable code. Though I have put some kind of text in front of you, but still anything else which you understand out of the term readable? Anybody wants to speak?
Like it should be readable by the other developers. Like
perfect. Perfect. Anything else which we should consider that okay, technically readable means something like this?
So, for example, if you are writing a function which will add add two values, then we can name that function as sum. Like the only seeing of the on the function, the other developer can understand that what this function is going to do.
Perfect. See, so the first sentence what I kept in this slide, that intent supposed to be self-explanatory. If you are writing some function, if you are declaring some variable, if you are creating some class, the intent of all these entities supposed to be self-explanatory, right? I cannot means it should not advisable that I should create a variable, I should put the name of variable I count, and I will store some value related to interest or some value related to year. So that is not something we can say that this is a readable stuff, or it cannot be considered that the declaration of this variable is a self-explanatory part. So such kind if such kind of characteristics are maintained, then we can consider as a readable, and holistically that should be understood by the third party, right? That can be understood by third party. So that is the one-liner definition. Modifiable. What is modifiable? I think this term is very much common with respect to some design principles. So see, okay, it is almost with zero probability if we can consider that I have implemented something today and it is not going to change tomorrow. Because if it is business is going to change, expectations of client is going to change, and definitely on the basis of that our code is going to change to cater the new functionality or to enhance new features, right? So our code is supposed to fall in a way so that anything anything should not break, must not break in fact. So any modification if you implement, it should narrow down the purpose with respect to the location, and rest implementation supposed to be isolated with respect to any change. So so any change should not break with respect to whatever new changes you are going to incorporate in your code. Agree or anything else? Okay, I hope this is these two definitions are clear with respect to first two parameters. Fantastic. I'm moving further. Scalable. See, scalable. I'm considering scalable over here, but it is not something that scalable is always part of the concept clean code. But it is always good to consider scalable as a part of clean code implementation, right? So now, what kind of scalability we are considering when we are writing any code? Though I have put three properties, but any else comes in your mind, anyone's mind that okay, this can be also considered as a scalability. Okay, so as I mentioned over here, that I have considered functionality, efficiency, and capacity. So functionality always goes with the business. So business, if business wants to scale with respect to the features or the services what they are catering to their customer, in that context also scaling happens. We can say in different words that feature enhancement may happen. Efficiency, there are chances we want to cater more request, we want to cater more precision with respect to any calculation. There are chances we need to cater more number of requests with respect to what currently we are facing. That goes with the capacity. So our codes supposed to be considered more cleaner if even scalability can be considered as a part of our implementation. I meant to say when we are coding. Maintainability, most of people you are aware, and the maintainability is something for what every client deals with, because before you start working on your project, your client will definitely mention that I don't want future headaches with respect to this application. Implement in a way so that we will have low maintenance cost in future. So clean code also supposed to fulfill the need of maintainability. So what kind of parameter you can consider in maintainability? Can anyone mention over here? When any project is in maintenance phase, what are the challenges you are facing? Anyone? I think we should have some kind of interaction. It's going to be good if we can have interaction.
So suppose if we are on maintenance of any project, we want to add more some functionality to it to the project, and if the code will not be clean, if the readability will not be there, then adding more functionality into it will be a bit difficult. It will be more challenging, according to me.
Yeah. So suppose my question is, suppose you are in a project which is in maintenance phase. So what kind of challenges you are having, challenges or what kind of issues you are getting while the project in maintenance? For example, you will find bugs, you will get some bug related issues, you will get some change request related tasks, you will get something related to feature enhancement or small tweaking with respect to parameter or environment variable kind of things. So these are the tasks, or these are the activities just falls in the maintenance phase. And when you are implementing clean code, the probability of such events will either go with very easy hand, or the count of such events will be relatively less than. I am telling you, it is not going to be zero, because change is a part of any project or anything, right? Is that clear with respect to what is clean code? Any query, any question? Okay, I'm moving to next. Why do we need clean code? I think most of you have already understood the significance, because along with the definition of clean code, I have kept something part of explanation on the basis of what benefit you are getting. But still, let us understand what we are going to get. And already maintenance time and cost would be drastically reduced, right? Because if you are incorporating the features what we have considered in previous slide, I think this thing can be reduced very easily, right? So how it can be reduced? As I mentioned, we will have relatively less rework. We will have relatively less effort in enhancement. We will have relatively less effort if any bug comes, to address any bugs. So turnaround time for future maintenance for any task, that reduces drastically. Longevity means longevity of any software or any project. So every software has its life cycle with respect to time, with respect to business, and with respect to scale, right? Scale. So whenever you are implementing this clean code principle practice, or when you are having taken care of all the clean code practices, your project life cycle goes for long. It lasts for long. Why it lasts for long? Because we can maintain the project with minimal effort, in context of enhancement of feature, in context of scaling, in context of kind of robustness. We can manage all these parameters for a long, and that is what business actually need while it is dealing with respect to any product, so far as software is concerned, right? Risk at runtime would reduce. So can you tell me what are the risks you are considering when any application is running? Anyone? While application is running, what kind of risk you may anticipate while application is running?
Exception.
Like if we do not follow the clean code, then we will be facing some like performance issues.
Mm-hmm. No, yeah. So in normal scenario, if application is running, so in what scenario your business will have challenges? Any cases which you have encountered in your past? Exception. Perfect. Yeah. So exception is definitely first thing what abnormal condition we are facing when application is running, right? So exception or bugs or inconsistency, those are the things which are the main parameter at the time of running the application. So now why such situation arise? What can be the root cause of those things? Definitely with respect to load, definitely with respect to some some best practices we haven't followed, and it might be a null pointer exception, or it might be a abnormal values we have considered, right? So so for any kind of bug, any kind of exception, your runtime gets affected, and that is the worst, or you can say that can be a nightmare for any business. Just imagine what will happen if someone is trading and the trading application crashes, right? There are chances that there may be regulatory challenges to the client. Efficiency. See, now efficiency always goes with many parameter, that is whether it is with respect to its capacity, whether it with respect to values or results are getting generated, or with respect to the latency. So there are many parameter can be considered when we are considering term efficiency. So when you are considering the clean code principle or the practices, the agility of implementation will increase like anything, and you can achieve improvement, or you can achieve enhancement in any parameter which affects the efficiency. We have already mentioned that, okay, we have already considered scaling, we have already consider enhancement with respect to features. We have already considered enhancement with respect to load. So those are the things which directly or indirectly goes with respect to efficiency, and we have agility to cater all those parameters. So if you are following clean code principle, if your principles and practices, all those parameters can be controlled at very high level, instead of picking the out of box frameworks. Even if you can pick the right practices or principle, you can achieve without investing any other thing, right? Any query, any questions on this slide? This is going to be theoretical, because at coding related, I think we have limited time. So yeah. Any queries, any questions? No. Are you good? Okay. So now we are entering somewhere the core points, clean code principles. I have segregated in three parts. Actually, the first, what fundamental is something that is with respect to, if you see the software design principle one, that is something which we can consider the core clean code principle. But apart from that, 2 and 3, which I consider, because these 2 and 3, they are highly coupled with principle one. So that's why I kept 2 and 3 along with clean code principles. So so what are the first set of principles? DRY, YAGNI, KISS, DOT. Obviously, don't repeat yourself. You aren't gonna need it. Keep it simple and stupid, and do one thing. I hope the short form or abbreviation, they are self-explanatory, but we will understand in detail in coming slide. So now principle 2 and principle 3, they are, if you can see, they are either part of OOPS principle or part of some best practices with respect to the OOPS principle. That is solid principles I am telling you. So they are something, they are saying that, okay, do something like this, which is going to be better, which can be considered as a better implementation, right? Yeah. Any query, any doubt? We are good, right? I hope you people are getting my voice.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
So until unless you won't interact, I won't be able to feel that you are getting my voice.
No, you are audible.
Thank
Your
you.
question I have. What is cohesion? Somebody has asked a question. What is cohesion?
Okay. Just a minute. Cohesion. I will explain that in second, but if you have asked now, see, decoupling, right? So this is something opposite to decoupling. So if something is required locally, right? Right. So if something is required locally, then it is mandate to keep that tightly coupled with that location of code. It is not required to decouple something, right? So that is the cohesion. How we can make something which tightly couple, and what can be the characteristic of those tightly couple code segment. So that is cohesion. Is that clear, or anything else you are looking, Rahul?
No, I think just Lean asked this question. I'm okay.
Okay, perfect. Sorry, let me keep open that chat window also. Yeah. Perfect. Why it is going? Okay, so segment of principle 1, DIY, don't repeat yourself. Should I ask any one of you what it should be? Anyone? This is honestly, I'm telling you, it is not a rocket science. Definitely not a rocket science. It's the basic fundamentals.
Like it should not be like we should not write redundant code. Redundancy.
Okay, perfect. But when you should consider that whether you have repeated or you need to repeat, right? We understand that, okay, we should not repeat. But when we should take decision that, okay, this required to be repeated, or this thing, something what I'm writing is repeating or not repeating. Let me put an example. You are writing an application. It has two modules. Modules are trying to interact with database. So do you think that both the modules need separate database connection? Do you think you need to write the code, separate code to create the connections?
No, I think we can write a generic way to connecting any database.
Perfect. I can go devil's advocate also in that part. So what if two modules are interacting with different databases? One is MySQL, another one is Oracle.
I think in that case we'll have to write different code for interaction with the different databases.
All right. See, again, it is not that what we should, what is the rule. It is definitely important to understand the underlying need of that principle, right? If I'm saying that we should not repeat, but whatever I am writing, actually it is a repeat or it is not a repeat, right? So to understanding that part is more difficult than to understand just the definition of don't repeat yourself, right? So okay, if I want to define DRY, it's a simple sentence. You can say every piece of knowledge must have a single unambiguous authoritative representation within a system. If I will consider the previous example, where two modules want to interact with database, one of you have mentioned that, okay, we can create a generic connection and we can consider, right? So now here we need to consider whatever you are going to write, according to you are writing by considering which the scope of the system. If the scope of system is 2 module, then it is supposed to be a generic implementation of 2 module. If scope of writing code is only 1 module, then definitely you need to have different implementation, right? So first you need to understand the scope of your system. It might look like that there are two system, but whatever code segment you are going to write, what is going to the scope to cater the functionality with respect to your code, that is supposed to be system for your code, right? You can define system in that way. So when you don't want to repeat anything, you need to understand the scope which you want to cater. Then you can control, don't repeat that part. Otherwise, either you will end up with again dirty code, or you will your implementation will be challenge for yourself in future. Is this something meaningful what I mentioned, or I need to explain further? Be interactive. Yes or no is not time taking. Okay. So this is again standard sentence what I have put, that important goal to drive principle to improve the maintainability of code during the phase. So how DRY achieve maintainability? Any can answer. How? Anyone can answer why it increase the maintainability? How? Instead of why, I should ask how. Anyone? So see, we have already considered that one example with respect to a database connection, right? Suppose if we have created a generic connection for the module or across the module. In that scenario, if there are some parameter with respect to database connection changes, what is going to be the maintenance effort for us? Only one change of one line or change of limited code for entire system. Agree on that part? Okay, I consider agree. Right?
Yes.
So, okay. So if you don't repeat something within the right scope, you can achieve maintainability in such fashion, right? Right. So same thing, software should able to change the code one place and it provide the effectivity at wider scope, right? Wider scope. So see, basically, whatever I have mentioned, that is, I think we have mentioned with respect to monolith also. Even when you are going in distributed system, do you sense how we can implement such thing? Are you able to guess, or are you able to think that in distributed system how we can implement some kind of some kind of functionality without repeating anything? If you want, I can give you the clue. The clue is simple, that in 12-factor application session there are few things which I have discussed. If you again second level of clue, there is a config server I have advised in that session. There is one of the factor config for distributed system or a cloud native application. So we are implementing we are doing configuration related implementation or in anything at one place, and it takes care of rest. The entire distributed system picks the values from at one location. So any change requires, we need to implement at one place only. So this way we can understand clean code principle either from local code to a distributed application. Okay, now I think I have already discussed with respect to the scope. So uniqueness, scope of uniqueness, definitely class level, module level, method level, variable level. So even at constant level. So even we are defining a constant, whether the scope of that need of that constants constant at only class level or at a package level or a module level, how we want to consider that. So on the basis of that, we can implement the uniqueness of that code, right? So as I mentioned, you need to consider what is the system with respect to whatever you are coding. If you are if for defining a constant, a system is only at class level or scope is at only at class level, you need to define at class, right? So that you can maintain the security with by limiting the scope, as well as it is not required for other to other entities. So that is also going to be discussed on in another principle, right? So uniqueness has to be maintained with respect to the code you are implementing, and what is the scope of that code, right? So again, uniqueness you need to consider in that way. Yes, this is good one. See, opposite of uniqueness is definitely a redundancy, right? So what we want to prevent? We want to prevent the redundancy. So redundancy is definitely we can consider over here in two way. One is in context of process, and another is in context of logic. So though I have put single line over one line kind of definition over here, but can anyone guess what is redundancies in process and what is redundancy in logic? Can anyone guess? Okay. At least one voice is needed from other side. At least one. चाय वाय पीने तो नहीं चले गए आप लोग?
Yes.
So I'm just asking, can anyone guess what is redundancies in process and what is redundancies in logic? Okay. See, now process is set of actions. Agree? And logic is considered for particular action, right? So now when you are let us consider one business case. When you are trying to calculate something, calculate interest on some amount, right? And that the amount supposed to be added on your in your principal. So there are two tasks: calculation of interest and addition to principal, right? So there are two tasks, and let us consider this as a process, right? So if this process separately defined for multiple user or multiple accounts, can it be acceptable? Can it be acceptable? For example, calculation of interest for current account and calculation of interest for saving account. if two separate processes are defined, is it a right implementation? See, they have a separate business logic, but do you think we need to define separate completely process for them? No, it is an incorrect implementation. We just need to consider required business rule while we are executing all the actions. Calculation of interest plus addition in principle. Make sense? Any doubt? I feel I sense it is still not clear from at least few people. I consider. Okay. Now redundancy in logic. Anyone can answer? So, okay, logic. Here let us consider calculation of interest. That is a logic, right? Suppose we need to calculate 5% interest on some particular amount. So that is logic implementation, right? So so again, if you write two methods to calculate logic for simple interest and logic for current simple logic for savings account and logic for a current account. Do you think it is required to be separated? I don't think, right?
No, sir.
Right. So such kind of redundancies can be controlled by this principle, that is DRY. Don't repeat yourself. I hope this. I hope I'm able. I could have able to explain this DRY. Any doubt? Any query? Anything?
No, Vigyan.
Sure.
Yes.
Fantastic. Asif, all clear?
Yes, Avigya.
Okay. So second, for under that category of principle, second one is you aren't gonna need it, Yagni, right? So again, we understand that it is saying that if you don't need, don't consider, right? So you consider only those things which are required in your code. Don't keep extra code in your any kind of in your project, right? Not only code, actually even comments are not required if it is not if it has no value in your delivery. Same. So always implement things when you actually need them, never when you just foresee that you need them. So foresee can be for future and for with respect to future development, and foresee can be even for past developed redundant code. See, it is a common psychology when any developer develops the code, it always keeps the old code by considering maybe it may require in future. And the other kind of extra smart developer, what does? Okay, let us write some other code. It may be future for it may be feature for future. So in both the scenario, it is not as per clean code principle. If it is a code developed in past and now it is not required, please remove it. If some probable feature required in future, please make it part those things in future only, not now. So keep your code as per the current need only. So if I'm saying code, it covers everything. It covers even comments in your class. It covers class itself. It covers variable declaration, constant test cases, everything. If something is not required, don't keep it. Perfect. Same, I have mentioned historical code, remove it. And again, scope of this thing at every level, whether it is a module, whether it's a class, whether it's a method, whether it's a variable, constant, Java doc, anything, even commented code, anything. If it is not required, simple rule, don't keep it. That's it. Okay. Now, again, Yagni, how it is going to benefit us by implementing this thing? Cost of build. Do you? I think I don't need to explain why it control cost of build, right? Do I need to explain further? Yes or no? Simple stuff. Let me incorporate a couple of sentences, right? See, if you develop some feature for future, do you think the cost is associated with that? Definitely cost is associated with that, because eventually you are investing your time, or there are chances for future you are incorporating such tool or such some platform which may incur cost for your project. So to maintain the cost, just keep what is required. That's it. Cost of delay. Can you sense the cost of delay? Anyone can sense cost of delay apart from what I have wrote over here? Anyone?
Yeah, if we are developing something which is not required, then definitely a cost is associated with it, right? So if something is not required, then that can be further discarded, right? That will definitely save a lot of money. That is a wastage of money if we are spending our time on something which is not even required.
Yeah, perfect. See, we can think in a way. We have invested some time in the extra development. So whatever the time we have invested for extra development, the business had delayed materializing. I think someone required to be noted. Ankit, will you be able to make Ankit Moga? Okay, fantastic. Yeah. So, so what I was mentioning, if something delay happens with respect to trying to deliver extra, which is actually not required, in that scenario, business will be delayed in getting ROI, and that is going to be the cost of delay. This is one of the example. There are other ways also, but if you are doing something extra which is not required, if you are coding something extra which is not required, this is again affects indirectly to the cost. Cost of repair, again, not at all a rocket science, right? If you are implementing extra, you are going to consider extra effort with respect to that code. And as someone is more smart, he had not followed the other principle of clean code, definitely those new code may affect to the another modules or another code. Again, cost of repair or maintenance in terms of time, or in terms of effort, or in terms of finance, whichever way, right? Cost of carry, what can be? See, cost of carry, that is again how means throughout the project life cycle. Project life cycle, I mean to say after implementation, till it is implemented in production, and till it is decommissioned from production, right? So so continuously that extra what you have implemented, it may incur cost directly or indirectly, whether in the form of maintenance, whether in the form of cost to platform, whether in other aspects, right? The cost is definitely will be part of entire life cycle if this if Yagni is not taken care. right? Is that clear? Yes,
Yes.
no, in between.
Yes.
Okay, great. Keep it simple, stupid, right? Everybody knows that staying simple is more better than staying complex, right? Right. See, basically, why staying simple is required in while you are coding? What is the need? What is the need? Anshuman, Abid.
Yeah, to like to remove.
So that anyone can understand your code if I am not available like that.
Perfect.
Keep it simple as possible as it should be. Like
So
if it is complicated, so other developer might take some time to understand like that.
So keep it simple is always motivated through the increase the capacity of readability. If code is more readable, is more maintainable. Why more maintainable? Because if it is readable easily, many developer can understand the code easily, and many developer can support that code easily, or many developer can maintain that code easily. So keep it simple. It has motivated with respect to increasing capacity of readability. That is the fundamental. Apart from that, there are many other aspects also, but this is the fundamental motivation with respect to this principle. Now, to implement simple code, the first thing you need to understand, what are you going to write? What are you intended to? So for that, your technical North Star supposed to be as stable as possible, right? Until unless you are not able to narrow down what you are going to do through how you are going to through, I think you will end up in complexity instead of simplicity. So first fix your North Star, right? First fix your North Star, then move ahead, right? So once your all the parameter will be fixed, then you can make your code as simple as possible, because after that you need to concentrate only on your code, nothing else, right? And again, for simplicity, definitely right fragmentation is definitely needed. Agree on that part? Fragmentation of code, I am saying. Are we agree on that part?
Yes.
Okay. So see, again, when you are fragmenting your code in either in different module or methods or anything or services, anywhere, you need to be very cautious on that part. If you have fragmented more than required, then simplicity will be lost. If you have fragmented less than what is required, then also complexity will be there. So that boundary is supposed to be defined very cautiously, that what is going to be the right fragmentation, right? Again, this is again in context of that, if you want to simplify your code, what are the areas where you need to work on, right? So logical package structure is supposed to be there. You need to understand the logical size of your class, size of method, naming conventions, uh, depth of your loop or if statements or whatever, how many if or loops you want to incorporate. So all those things contributes with respect to the simplicity of your code, right? So and base part is that nowadays we have very good tool where even you do not require to think that, okay, for how many depth I need to consider how many lines. The tools are very much capable with respect to I think optimum numbers of all these parameters, right?
Abhigya, sorry to interrupt in between, but we are nearing the time of closure. So if you can wrap up the session by on time, that would be really great.
Okay, so I think it will not be completed, but I will take 10 minutes more, and I will complete at least these principles, right?
Sure.
Will that be okay for rest of the people, audience? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, perfect. So now, okay. So if you have considered some principle, definitely we need to understand why we are considered and how it is going to help, right? Straightforward. It solves more problem, and it helps to solve faster. So if you have granular, if you have implemented in a at right granular level, or we can say it, we have fragmented rightly, we understand where the problem is, where we can find out the bottleneck, and we can fix by reaching to that location, right? So faster, faster the problem solving, and it will give you more ROI with respect to the time, right? Yeah. Now, second one is produce code to solve complex problem in fewer lines. So yeah, this is something something is subjective to the functionality. So if some complex problem is there, we we can try to simplify by structuring it better, by fragmenting it better, and by maintaining the right naming convention throughout the structure. So this will because of this simplicity, your complex problem will give you give you less pain to solve those complex problem, right? Because you know, to resolve each complexity, where you need to put the attention. So your attention will be directly where the the solution of complex problem is, right? Again, to produce higher quality of code, yes, we are definitely to build larger system, easier to maintain. Yes, we are clear on that, right? Nothing to discuss. Code base will be more flexible, easier to extend, modify, refactor when new requirement arrives. Yes, whatever discussion we have done, by considering fragmentation, by considering right structure, by considering right size of method, any feature or any enhancement come, it can be uh, plug in with minimal effort, and with the best way as per the as per the guideline of maintainability and testability of your application, right? Okay. So, okay. Do one thing, that is Curl's law. So again, you understood by this sentence, choosing a single clearly defined goal for any particular bit of code. You understand the crux of this thing? Anyone? Okay. See, if you have one ammunition, you try to use ammunition for one purpose only. This is the thing. Another very simplistic way, if you have sword, you use sword for the purpose why it is made for that. Don't use sword for chopping your vegetables, right? Or don't use sword for both the purpose. This is so. If something is defined, define it for particular purpose, not don't make it ambiguous, right? So okay, let me go further. So anything. So so far as Java part is concerned, what are those things? Those can be class, those can be method, those can be variable, those can be can be even any properties also, right? Even in service. So if service is one, please consider that service for only one purpose. right? So if purpose will be one, then in the case of crisis, the solution will be can be narrowed down at one place, right? So one entity, one purpose. That is the underlying purpose of this principle, right? If you want to write a class to calculate interest. Don't put any functionality to update the account. If you are so if some glitch happens with respect to the calculation of interest, then only particular class will be addressed. If you are defining the variable, if variable is for purpose of count, don't store interest on that in that variable. Use that variable for counting counting some loop or anything, but you don't use that variable for another purpose. It will reduce your readability as well as it will reduce your maintainability. Understood? Okay, so this is kind of reverse one. And so if any class function variable is required to change for any one reason, this means entity is meant only for one purpose. This is so if any change you want to do, if that change need only at one place, that means whatever implementation you have done for only one purpose. So this is the reverse one, and this is kind of benefit of what we have implemented. Do one thing only, right? So to solve one purpose, only one change supposed to be implemented. That is. Okay, some scenario can be a class holds method with a more than one purpose. That is method for fetching records more than one reason. That means calculation of interest for saving account and calculation of interest for fixed deposit. If you are considering both the things in one method, then you have done wrong. You have done wrong, right? So one purpose means one purpose only, right? A method which does operation more than one purpose, same thing. Similar way, in class, you are considering interest, you are considering updating account, you are considering renaming account name. No, that is not. Calculation of interest supposed to be separate. Update of account is supposed to be separate. Update of customer information supposed to be separate. Until unless you won't do this thing, you won't fulfill this principle at least, right? Same for variable, I have already mentioned. So if you are using variable for count for as a counter, consider as a counter. Don't consider it as for any business functionality related. No. I think we cannot go for second one if time. So we are 5 minutes above. So are we good till now? Because so far as clean code principles are concerned, core principle I have already covered. Apart from that, principle 2 and 3, they are attached with clean code. So I think this is a good place where we can stop now. Are you okay on that part? Yes, no?
Yes, Abhigya.
Yeah. So so before we close, any query, any question, anything? See, whatever we have discussed today, this is the most fundamental and the most easiest thing which is required to be learned before we start our coding career. This is not at all anything rocket science, but the only thing is discipline is attached with this thing, right? So this required to be practiced, right? This is this is something related to practice. This is not something with respect to implementation of business, right? As it is a non-functional stuff, it is supposed to be part of practice. Practice it, achieve it. That's it. Any query, any question before we consider closer? Yes, no, nothing.
No biggie.
Perfect. So, Bharti, over to you.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Hanji, thanks. Thanks, Abhigya. Thank you so very much. Bhavya, are you around?
Bhavya is facing some technical issues. I mean, he's not able to unmute himself as of now. I can see him. So I believe, thank you so much, Abhigya, for
Yeah,
this wonderful session. And thank you everyone for being here and attending this session through the expert lenses of Abhigya. Remember to practice the learning, because the more you practice, the more enhanced and the more better you become. And with that, keep looking for these sessions, because we'll continue to bring you such sessions. So thank you so much and have a good and great learning day ahead.
Thanks. Bye and take care.
Yes, of course, another thing, in case if you have any questions, anyone, you can always reach out to Abhigya, the Java Studio, the mentors, and you can also reach out to the learning and development team for any one of your queries. We'll be happy to assist you. With that, let's sign off and have a good day ahead. Bye-bye.
Exercise will be on the way. I think before today you will get the exercise.
Oh, that's
And
wonderful.
also, Biggia, you can share your PPT for LND so that they can distribute to the audience.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Thanks.
Bye and take care.
Thanks, sir.
Thanks, everyone. Thank you. Have a good day.